Since 2016, the UCI has conducted over 100,000 mechanical doping tests at professional races. The official detection rate, 0.03%. Either professional cycling is almost entirely clean, or the motor has gotten smarter than the scanner. In January 2016, a 19-year-old Belgian cyclocross rider named Femke van den Driessche was pulled from the World Championships in Zolder after a UCI commissaire found a small electric motor concealed inside her seat tube. It was the first confirmed case of mechanical doping in the history of professional cycling. The UCI called it an isolated incident. The engineers who built the motor called it a prototype. This is file 008. This is the dossier on mechanical doping, what the UCI found, what they admitted, and what a French engineering firm discovered in 2023 that the UCI's legal team tried to bury inside a 40-page cease and desist letter. To understand why mechanical doping is so difficult to detect, you first need to understand how small the problem actually is. Not small in impact, small in physical size. The motor used in the Van den Driessche case weighed approximately 250 grams and produced approximately 100 watts of additional power. That sounds significant, but here is the detail that matters. Since 2016, the engineering has not stood still. In 2023, a French aerospace engineering firm published a technical white paper demonstrating that a motor producing 60 watts of sustained assistance could be manufactured to weigh 98 grams and fit inside a standard bottom bracket shell. 60 watts is not nothing. At the elite professional level, 60 watts of invisible assistance applied at precisely the right moment. The final 200 meters of summit finish, the last kilometer of a time trial, is the difference between a podium and a peloton. And a 98-gram motor leaves no thermal signature detectable by the equipment the UCI currently deploys at race starts. After Zolder, the UCI introduced two detection systems. The first, magnetic resonance detection, using tablets pressed against the bike frame to identify metallic anomalies. The second, thermal imaging cameras, looking for heat signatures from motors that have recently been running. Both systems have a published detection window. Neither window has ever been updated. Here is what we know. Magnetic resonance detection requires the motor to be running, or to have run recently, to produce a detectable signature. A motor that has been switched off for more than 40 minutes produces no magnetic anomaly the current tablets can identify. Race starts, where the checks are conducted, typically occur between 45 minutes and 2 hours after teams leave their hotels. Here's what we don't know. How many teams, if any, are aware of this window? Whether any team has ever structured its pre-race hotel departure timing specifically around it, and whether the UCI's decision not to update its published detection protocols in 8 years reflects institutional confidence in the system, or institutional reluctance to test it. In September 2023, a Toulouse-based aerospace engineering firm called Axiom Propulsion Sciences published a 14-page technical white paper titled Miniaturized Electromagnetic Assist Systems in Carbon Fiber Composite Sporting Frames, Detection Thresholds and Current Limitations. The paper had no named authors. It was distributed through an academic preprint server. It was downloaded 11,000 times in its first 48 hours. The paper's central finding, using commercially available electromagnetic components and carbon fiber manufacturing techniques accessible to any professional cycling team's equipment supplier, a mechanical assist system could be produced that would evade every detection methodology currently employed by the UCI. The paper included diagrams. It included weight specifications. It included a section titled, "Why Current Scanning Protocols Will Not Find This." 6 weeks after publication, Axiom Propulsion Sciences received a cease and desist letter from a law firm retained by the UCI. The letter, 43 pages long, alleged that the white paper constituted the provision of technical assistance to parties engaged in or contemplating anti-doping rule violations. It demanded the paper be removed from all public servers within 72 hours and that all copies in the possession of the authors be destroyed. The paper was removed. The preprint server complied within the 72-hour window. What the UCI's legal team had not anticipated: academic preprint servers are mirrored automatically across 17 independent international nodes. The paper still exists on 9 of them. It has been downloaded a further 60,000 times since the cease and desist was issued. The UCI has not pursued action against the mirror sites. In 2022, a sports scientist at the University of Lausanne published a paper in the Journal of Sports Sciences that analyzed the power output data of Tour de France stage winners between 2015 and 2021. The paper identified 14 stage victories where the winning riders' sustained power output in the final kilometer exceeded what the authors described as the current physiological consensus maximum for drug-free human performance. The UCI's official response, published 6 weeks later: power output data collected during races is the intellectual property of the teams that generate it. The UCI has no legal authority to compel its submission for anti-doping analysis. The paper's methodology, the UCI stated, was based on incomplete data, and therefore its conclusions were not actionable. The paper has since been cited 47 times in peer-reviewed literature. The UCI has not revised its position on data ownership. What we know: the technology to hide a motor inside a professional racing bicycle currently outpaces the technology to find it. What we don't know: whether that gap is being exploited, by whom, and at which races. What no one has publicly said, though several retired professionals have said it privately, in interviews whose recordings exist but whose subjects have declined to go on record, is this: the peloton always knows. It has always known. The question is never whether the cheat exists. The question is always whether the institution wants to find it. In 2024, a journalist working for a Belgian investigative sports outlet submitted a Freedom of Information request to the UCI asking for the technical specifications of their current mechanical doping detection equipment and the date those specifications were last reviewed. The UCI responded that detection methodology was classified operational information and could not be disclosed, as doing so would compromise the integrity of the testing program. The journalist then submitted the same request to 6 national anti-doping organizations that collaborate with the UCI on equipment checks. 4 did not respond. 1 responded that they deferred to UCI protocol on all mechanical testing matters. 1, the Agence Française de Lutte contre le Dopage, responded with a document acknowledging that their thermal imaging equipment had last been calibrated against motor specifications from 2017. 2017, the year after Zolder. Nothing since. The motor they are looking for has not existed in the form they are scanning for since 2017. The scanner has not changed. The motor has not stood still. And the sport, which generated 4.9 billion euros in commercial revenue in 2023, has decided that this is an acceptable arrangement. The motor they still cannot find may not exist. That is one possibility. The other possibility is that it exists, that it has existed since before Zolder, And that 100,000 tests at a 0.03% detection rate is not evidence of a clean sport. It is evidence of a test that is not designed to find what it claims to be looking for. Until the next investigation, keep the files open. File closed. Next file. A mountain. A pill. And a race that buried the truth for 57 years. The Bike Files. Subscribe for the next case.